2024 is here. We made it. Barely. Jim, today we talk about a black doctor who has a spin on poor health. I don't know the story, so I'm looking very forward to it. Top 9 media lies of 2023. It's just the top 9, folks.
I was going to say.
Could have hundreds of thousands of them, but top 9. An ex-CIA analyst, confident 2024 election will be the same as 2020. That's frightening. And 24 for 24. This is numbers that will shape a crucial year in politics, probably the most crucial year in politics. That so much more on a brand new year and a new edition of what, Jim?
2 guys, 1 coup.
Welcome to the 2 Guys, 1 Coup podcast with Dale and Jim, where the truth matters and progressives' feelings don't. We bring you the facts from the perspective of 2 average, everyday guys who will never apologize for being America first, for adhering to our great Constitution, and for saluting the flag that our brothers and sisters have fought and died for. And now, here's Dale and Jim.
It was okay to start the year. I expected a little more.
I can't
fanfare.
Win with you.
Why do you? Why?
Because when I get overly excited,
I love it. It takes me by surprise. No, it's good because what you do is, you're basically not excited.
Well, I get hot,
and then when you do it, it surprises
like, 2
me.
guys.
I like that.
Coup.
Yeah. I like that. The falsetto range is concerning for me.
That's kind of good. Did you know what that meant? I have no idea what you just said.
Falsetto?
Isn't that a beer back from a long time ago?
You know falsetto. You were like in show choir and you did the whole
I was
Glee
never
thing
in
high
show
school.
Choir. I was a parent of a show choir. They would not ask me. I got kicked out of show choir because I was so bad.
I thought you were in like one of those Glee things, like the Glee Club and all that. Or
really? You obviously never heard me sing.
I have. And I was wondering how bad this Glee Club was in high school. If you were part of it.
I bet you we could be hot sellers, though.
I bet you could now. Yeah. Well, with auto-tune, you can do anything.
True.
Anyways, I'm so sick of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Seeing those two.
And the funny thing about it, it's not their fault.
Well,
people just keep covering them. And it's like,
they
just
keep showing them.
Yep.
Speaking of that, Jim, did you stay up till midnight on New Year's?
Oh, yeah, I always do.
Okay. So did we. Mm-hmm. And we had happened to be watching the Nashville, like New Year's, right? Because I don't give a crap about the New York one. Right. But at 11 o'clock, our time, so I'm in Central, so that would have been midnight in Eastern. We switched over to ABC and watched the ball drop. What happened, Jim? What happened the minute the ball dropped? Happy New Year. I don't know if you saw it.
I guess I didn't.
Happy New Year. Camera goes to a couple making out, kissing on New Year's.
They always do.
Just happened to be an interracial gay couple. First one they showed.
Okay.
Not that the interracial makes anything. Not that the. But is there a majority of, are we the minority straight? Is the straight heterosexual, the male and female, the minority now? Or, no.
We're still the majority, but.
So they had what, 1 million people in New York City?
Yeah.
They didn't just find them. They were on the open side of the barrier, separated from the crowd out there. So they handpicked these two to show as the very first ringing in of the new year.
Not
Again,
sure where you're going with this.
It's not a gay bash. It's a, are you kidding me? What do you mean? Where am I going with it? Do you find that odd? They picked a couple. Now, literally, I'm sure they searched high and low.
I'm surprised they didn't find a freaking 2 trans people.
So here's my point, stupid. They searched high and low for what would be the most, I don't want to say shocking, but certainly not your more traditional, couple to find for a moment like that to bring in the new year, right? Let's face it. There's more straight people than there are gay people, right? I'm sure they searched high and low for an interracial gay couple to highlight. They probably were pissed off they weren't wearing riding with Biden hats, and they weren't have shirts with pronouns on them. I'm sure they searched high and low for all that, and this is what they could find in the crowd, right? It was just, if it was they were just panning the crowd and it was happening, that's fine. I mean, that's not even a big deal. But for me, that's the first thing. Happy New Year, yay! What? I mean, it's like, what? Close up, Jim. Not.
I gave my wife a kiss, so I didn't see that.
I gave mine at midnight our time. Okay.
See that make okay. See.
So yeah, right. You're all great, high and mighty. I gave my wife a kiss at midnight. You're the man, Jim. You're not even getting the point. Okay, I guess I'm gay bashing. Didn't mean to start the year off that way.
I don't think you're gay bashing.
That's not what I'm doing.
You act surprised.
Well,
I mean,
yeah. Still,
this is the world we live in.
But not when the clock struck 12 midnight in Nashville on theirs. Well, boy, it was. That was America. That was full blown.
I'm surprised you watch that.
What do you mean?
Country. I didn't think
Morgan Wallen, Hardy,
you're a big
Lainey Wilson.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Ella King hosted it.
Cody Johnson's great.
Ella King, you know who she is?
Yeah.
Okay. It's Rob Schneider's daughter.
Right.
And I can't help but look at her and think Rob Schneider looks just like her. It's like
girl.
If Rob Schneider was in drag, that's Ella King. Anyways, yeah. I mean, of course, I was going to watch that one over anything going on in New York. You know what I mean? Yeah. Plus, they had Leonard Skinner on for the last hour. Oh, that was balling. You know, I mean, those geriatrics, man, can play still. Yeah. So, anyways, that's my take on New Year's. Happy New Year, smoochy.
It's still it's the world we live in, right? I mean. We've got. It's
the world they're making us live in.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. We got another Republican governor who caved to the trans movement. I can't remember the state.
No. It was Ohio. It was DeWine.
It was. And guys,
that guy's a weasel.
I just can't stress this enough. If you want to be trans. That's not the issue that we and most of us are trying to push.
Yeah, DeWine went
children.
And that's where he failed, because that bill was for that. And he's like, I met with both sides, parents with trans children, parents who had trans children who regretted. I met with both sides. And those parents who had trans children said they would have killed themselves. Come on, dude.
Suicide rate's higher for the kids that go through the
pills
and this stuff.
Yeah. But not DeWine. What a weasel. What a weasel. Vote him out, people. Ohio, get your ass in gear. Vote him out.
Such a small group of
they're
people
controlling everything.
Can control everything.
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing to me.
They're controlling a nation. Can you believe it? A nation. Them and the illegals are controlling this nation. Huh?
All to mutilate children.
Jim, I want to go into a couple things real quick. Anyways, okay, sorry for the homosexual crowd. That wasn't my point.
I did not think you were homosexual.
Okay,
bashing.
I mean, if that's what you took it as.
You were surprised.
Yeah, I know.
Surprised you were.
I mean,
like I said, I'm surprised I didn't have 2 newly trans people.
Well, I'm sure they looked. That's my point. If they searched high and low for the most bizarre, and they couldn't, right? I mean, this is what they found. Yeah. Right. I mean,
I didn't think you were gay bashing. I'm surprised you were surprised. That's all.
Speaking of gays, Claudine Gay resignation from Harvard. So a different version.
You think?
Yeah. But
did you see her testimony?
She's
this is a Harvard. Okay.
Yeah.
The head
president
of
Harvard,
one of the most prestigious universities in the world, not
and
just
we
the country.
wonder why the education system is failing.
Yeah. And you listen to this individual, and they can't explain themselves. They just can't, because they don't want to offend the pro-Palestinian violence. They don't want to offend them. It's easier to offend
the Jewish people. Yep, it's true. Yep, it's true. Well, I think that's the first domino. I think many of them will. I don't think anything's going to change. The next president will be equally as liberal and wacky at Harvard, I think. So a couple things on the good news level is our good friend Catherine Engelbrecht of True the Vote. We have interviewed Catherine, and we're looking to get her back on. Won the lawsuit against Stacey Abrams, Mark Elias in the fairfight.org lawsuit. Now that's when they were suing. They were suing True the Vote because of the voter rolls in Georgia and what Catherine Engelbrecht and her team at True the Vote found in Georgia. Anyways, they have been vindicated, and they True the Vote and Catherine have won that lawsuit. So that's good news. That's really good news.
And the I still can't. The Steele dossier is still being talked about by the left, as though even though it's been debunked everywhere, every way, shape, or form. And the more that was researched, the worse it looked for Hillary Clinton, especially, but Barack Obama as well. So now they think that is true, but then we have all of this evidence from 2,000 Mules, right? We have all of this evidence, all of this stuff. Nothing happened here.
Nothing. Well, it's beginning to look, at least it's, 3 years too late. I'd say too late. It's never too late. So the fight's worth it, and we have to assure ourselves of
and she fought. She
fought.
Sacrificed.
Not like
some of these other people did. They did not give in. She did not.
Did not. In other Georgia news, it says video reveals Georgia 2020 voter rolls dirtier than ever. Tens of thousands of ineligible addresses cast votes in 2020. So when people are like, oh, there's no cheating, nobody's stuffing ballots, this alone is voter fraud, election interference. It is what we are talking about. Just the voter rolls alone would have made a difference in that 2020 election. Cleaning up the voter rolls.
Look at the Senate race. Let's just talk about the Senate race. Both Democrats won.
In Georgia.
And if it would have split, would be a little different right now.
Yep, sure would. So, anyways, we all know. Our listeners know that this is all true. These voter rolls are inaccurate. You heard Catherine when she was on our show talk about the Secretary of State in Georgia admitting that they were inaccurate. But it's all we can do. It's best we can do.
We reviewed the voter rolls in Wisconsin.
Oh,
they still had individuals on there. Come on, folks.
120 years old.
It's really. And we don't have people looking at this. That's what's amazing.
It's everyone has seen it. Nobody's looking at it. Besides people like True the Vote and true patriots who are fighting all of this are looking at it, but nobody is addressing it whatsoever. I can't believe something like this doesn't go to the Supreme Court. Like why will the Supreme Court now take on these situations? I understand how little they want to try to intervene in elections. But at what point do they say, you guys are breaking the laws? This isn't a fair election.
They can't really do that, can they? They have to wait till something gets put.
I understand that. I understand that, but I believe cases have been brought up to them. I don't know that they've heard them, and then they just ruled on some January 6th thing. I don't know what that was about. I don't know. Maybe you heard. I'm sorry, I don't know that. It's not one thing I looked at today. I just saw the blurb about it. So maybe shit's going to start hitting the fan with them. I don't know, but something has to be done, right? Yeah. So those things. Those two things are happening. Real quick, Jim, and then we can get into some of your shorties here. And there was nothing meant by that, per se. But, Jim, what's behind Biden's sliding poll numbers? I just like the headline as if we don't know what's behind Biden's poll numbers.
Have you seen the economy yet?
It says, according to the RCP, Real Clear Politics average, just 40% of voters approve of his handling of the job. 40. That's not even true. His ratings have been falling for more than 2 years continuously. They're not increasing since his botched withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021.
Okay, let me ask you this, though. If you've got individuals out there, okay, that only watch CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, all of those,
agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
Do they know? I mean, yeah, they go to the grocery store and they see things higher.
They
see
gas
prices higher, but they don't put two and two together. They don't add everything. But so here's
the war in Ukraine, right?
Right. But here's the issue. I mean, this is the issue here, is that we've got a number of people who are ill-informed, who aren't paying attention out there, that's why it's hard to get them. And when you talk to them about these things that we have this evidence on, I never saw that on CNN, so it can't be true.
Yeah.
And it's sick, but 40%, there's no way in hell. No way.
No way. No way. It says here that not coincidentally, voters also take a dim view of where the country is heading, with 68% saying it is headed in the wrong direction and just 25% in the right direction. There's like 7% who say, I don't know what direction it's going.
It's going sideways.
I don't know. Those are the flat earthers. The president's ratings have gotten steadily worse over the course of this year. More than 60% of voters say Biden has moved too far left. I think we can agree with that. Biden was told to move left, and that's what he did. Once they showed him what left looked like, that direction. Once they led him to the other left, Joe. Ooh, come on, man. Voters are also pessimistic about the economy. 47% say things are getting worse, while just 22% say they are getting better. What does better mean? That gas isn't $3.80, but it's now $2.90. I mean, I guess that's better. That's how they judge better at this point. Anyways, we can go on and on. We know why. The economy, let's see, Trump is favored over Biden in 3 issues voters say are the most important. The economy, 52 to 35%, inflation 51 to 30, and securing the border 54 to 24. Voters also favor Trump over Biden on crime, the Russian-Ukraine war, and even the war between Israel and Hamas. These later 2 ratings on Ukraine and Israel undoubtedly surprised Biden and his supporters, who assume that voters will endorse his policies in regard to these conflicts. By contrast, voters favor Biden on just 2 issues. And so keep this in mind, these 2 issues. And this will be the focus of 2024. Abortion and Social Security, Medicare. Those are going to be the 2 things you hear consistently, and probably not out of Joe Biden's mouth, because they're probably going to start keeping him quiet for the remainder of the year. And you're going to hear his cronies in the media and his staff are going to be preaching abortion and Social Security and Medicare. Watch. That's it. That's what you're going to hear.
It's winning.
And it's winning on that. Abortion, 44 to 33%. Social Security, 44 to 38%.
Well,
so those are substantial numbers.
If you heard the Republican debate when they were talking about these issues, and don't. No.
Just you don't even bring them up.
If you want to do something, go after welfare.
Speaking of Republican debates, boycott the CNN one. They've left Vivek Ramaswamy off it because they said he didn't meet the requirements. I think that's bullshit. So again, it's CNN and the established Republicans and Ronna McDaniel who have established that. And so Vivek will be doing something on that night. Trump also is going to.
I wonder if he was going to join Trump at his townhouse on Fox.
That would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. Can you imagine that? Nobody's going to watch that CNN bullshit. So now you got DeSantis, Haley, and Chris Christie. Yeah. Really? Chris Christie is going to be on that debate? F that. F that. Anyways, Jim, what do you got here real quick? I'm just kind of babbling now.
Well, you remember when I was referring to the party where the mayor of Boston was going to have a whites-only party?
No. Not whites only.
I'm sorry.
Non-whites.
No whites allowed.
Yeah.
You're correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the state attorney general said, the state attorney general said there's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong. Yeah. Perfectly fine to be racist.
Massachusetts Attorney General Andrea Campbell has found that Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, a fellow Democrat, did nothing wrong holding a holiday party for public officials that excluded white people.
So, I guess legally, there was legally nothing wrong, right? I guess technically. I mean, it's not illegal to have a party and invite who you want, but
the law specifically prohibits making any distinction, discrimination, or restriction in admission to or treatment in a place of public accommodation based on race, color, religious creed, national origin, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, deafness, blindness, or any physical or mental disability or ancestry.
So she broke the law then. So I stand corrected.
That's how I read it.
That's how I read it.
But
that's how I read it. A business couldn't do this, right?
You cannot discriminate against white people.
Well, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. There is no white discrimination whatsoever.
But this is just a part of what we're talking about here. We've got a situation in a country, in a world that takes self accountability out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Nothing is your fault anymore.
Correct.
Okay, and I am seeing it a lot, very closely, because of affiliations I have.
Mm-hmm.
That the longer the Black Americans feel that they can't succeed because of white people, you're never going to get better.
Yeah.
All you're going to do is be kept down by the Democratic Party.
Correct.
To making you feel it's not your fault.
Yep. That's right.
And but this goes, I can't believe that this, well, I can believe it.
I was just saying, are you shocked just like I was with the gay kissers?
I already believe we've lost this country. And this is another example of how we've lost it.
Yeah.
How this is not rage-filled is beyond me.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because if you and I would have had a whites-only New Year's Eve party, would we be alive?
Oh, God.
I'm guessing no. But anyway, I just see this. But I wanted to make specific. I read the law.
Whites are evil.
Okay,
yes.
The law specifically prohibits.
Yep.
But the Attorney General, who is the main law right in the state,
Democrat, obviously,
said they did nothing. Oh, but they're both Democrats.
Yeah,
did nothing wrong.
Yep.
So anyway,
is he a white? Is the Attorney General white?
Black. She's black.
Oh, it's a she.
And, yeah.
Here, I automatically discriminated against sex, thinking it was a male.
The same thing, but that's okay.
Yeah. So a black female who was at the party, I'm certain, then, right?
Oh, well, yeah, she wasn't white.
She was invited. Said there was nothing wrong with no whiteys at the party. I have nothing to see here, folks. I mean,
there isn't.
Future president, the Boston mayor, perhaps.
Way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, or at least vice president.
Well, we do know one thing.
What do we know?
One of the John Does in the Epstein documents, not surprisingly, is Bill Clinton.
I'm glad you brought it up. I was hoping before we recorded that list was going to be released. It has not yet as of this time. So,
but we do know, and there's some confirmation that Bill Clinton, which folks, this was
It's not a surprise.
The reason why they brought this up is because of the fact that everybody knew it. Okay,
that's the name.
But I would like to know, how much did he know? How much was he involved?
And they're saying now 50 times he's mentioned in.
Well, I'm just going with mentioned. Okay, so let's just say the worst that he did is he had sex with sex trafficked girls, right? He had sex with them. That's the least thing.
Okay.
We know Bill Clinton.
Yep.
We know Hillary Clinton. We know they're shady, right? The Clinton Foundation got all this money from foreign dignitaries, foreign nations, and then all of a sudden she didn't win the election and it's gone. Okay. We know what it was for. Most of us did.
Jim, I apologize ahead of time for your upcoming suicide, but go on.
Yeah. But anyway, how much involved is he? And I don't want this to stop because I don't care if it's a Republican.
I don't care either.
If it's a Democrat.
If they find out it's Donald Trump.
If they were involved in this stuff, prosecution, punishment, everything beyond belief. I don't want, because he's the ex-president, nothing's good. Bullshit.
Yeah, well,
and
here's the thing. Look how long it's taken to even get to this point. How are these names not been released to this point? And we know why, and we know how.
January 6th, though, look what happened there.
Oh boy, they're still busting people. They're still looking for people.
Bank of America released financial data from people who were there that day.
Yep, not a problem.
But and folks, until those of us who are not powerful, okay, and wealthy, until we all get together and come to a common agreement. But no, we're going to argue about abortion. We're going to argue about this. We're going to argue about that. And
correct.
This is what has to happen. We have got to go after these creeps. And we know there's a bunch of them. And not just the Epstein. We know there's a lot of them currently.
Oh, yeah. I mean, correct.
It's only for themselves. I mean, well, hell, we're going to see potentially three in the CNN debate who are bought and paid for by wealthy people.
That's right.
And it's just it's a shame. But anyway, stay tuned for that. But I just had to bring that up.
Because, you have to. Yeah, I mean, that's big news. I just wish the name. I'm sure hopefully next week we'll have a show on it, and those names will be released, and we can discuss it further. Because do you think, Jim, once the names are released, are you going to be, if they do it still, judge says yes, but I'm sure there's appeals happening. Do you believe that you will be surprised by the names on the list?
No.
Maybe there's pictures of Stephen Hawking at Epstein Island.
Maybe initially, but hold on, I'm not getting my stories to pop up.
Why is Stephen Hawking on Epstein Island? Like, why was he there?
Again, I think this goes deeper. I really do. I think this goes.
It goes very deep, Jim.
Yeah, and it worries me. And anyway,
you're slacking on the show here. Like,
no, well, it's because
what'd you do? Did you hit a wrong button?
I gotta apologize because of our new way of doing things. We got my story
disappeared.
I had to do some things to get it to come up. So
stuff we do before the show starts, right?
Yes,
is what you mean.
That would be it. Yeah. Okay, cool. I think I got it now.
All right, welcome to 2024.
Did you expect anything
just as professional
less?
as 2021?
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But I'm back now, so we're good.
Okay, so what's next then if you're back?
Well, I wanted to talk about, but I couldn't get it to pop up because again, I have to confirm things on it. I should have done it. But anyway, did you see they have a list of our debt that we're in.
The national debt?
Yep.
Okay.
And we're at, in 2020, we've gone up like, I wish I had the damn numbers in front of me, but it was, I just wanted to talk about that because we have an election coming up.
Yeah.
And look, we've always known that it doesn't matter who the president is, we're in debt. It's just how much in debt are we going to be, and how are we going to pay for it. But the point that I wanted to make on this is we are in debt 43. I think it's 43 trillion, and we're still giving billions of dollars to the Ukraine. With what? This is money that we're having to borrow
from China.
Well, okay,
from China.
Again, how bad is that?
Does China borrow money from us?
But people want to tell us that Biden is approval rating of 40%.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. The national
our
debt
economy is in a free fall. Our border is so porous. We have horrible people in this country right now waiting to do something. We've got Mayorkas who, like, as all accounts, and some of our friends that have talked about, needs to be thrown in jail for treason.
Correct.
But this guy's still at, well, let's just say some of the polls at 32%.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously? This stuff just doesn't add up anyway. But it
doesn't.
He's a joke.
Well, the national debt never gets really. It's not a sexy subject, right? For him, it doesn't get talked about a lot. I mean, they'll bring it up and they'll talk about it.
Republicans president.
Our country is in debt. Look at, they've increased the national debt. Where are we getting the money from? And then it moves on to, but a woman doesn't have a right to choose. That's important. A child must decide their own gender and have the right to do so. That's important. I mean, it's unbelievable. The national debt, next to illegal immigration, is probably the two most frightening things, really, for our nation. We have no ability to pay that back.
Never will.
Nor do our children or our children's children, or so on. No ability to pay that back. And someone's going to call it in at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say, hey, boy, you owe me like $38 trillion. I don't know how that all works. I mean, did they shut off America's electricity? I don't know how that works, but I'm just saying.
And they're trying to convince us to get a one world currency, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a piece of paper.
Just a piece of paper. Unbelievable.
Jim, wait till you see the mega yacht I'm going to buy.
I know. Yeah.
Just a piece of paper.
Just a piece of paper. Just sign it. What do I care? Jim, Black Doctor has spin on poor health.
Yeah. Okay,
well, why did you? There's a reason why you said Black Doctor.
Yeah.
Instead of just doctor.
Because we've seen, right, stories where health in America, the unhealthy Black people, it's the result of racism. Uneducated Black people, it's a result of racism. It's, again, no accountability whatsoever, right? So individuals who don't want to blame themselves for the current conditions they're in, you give them an out.
That's right.
And that helps. But the assertion that racism is the driving force behind Black people's health issues rather than individual choices infuriated Dr. Marilyn Singleton. This sort of thing really makes my blood boil, Singleton said to Fox News Digital. My parents and I grew up in a segregated neighborhood, and we did all right for ourselves. Dr. Uche Blackstock claimed on MSNBC, that wonderful news network, on Saturday that a recent study from Dr. L. Ebony Boulware, I think that's made up the way it sounds, but no kidding, Dr. L. Ebony Boulware, revealed that individual behavior was barely a factor in the health compared to systemic factors.
Oh, shit.
Individuals are only responsible for about 20% of what makes them healthy. The other 80% are the systemic factors that Dr. Boulware and her colleagues studied in this very, very important research that needs to inform how communities and resources are given, Blackstock said. Singleton called out both Blackstock and Boulware for not only pushing politics, but she argued using an incomplete study to do so. This sort of proclamation based on the study with admitted limitations is itself racist. She said the attitude infantilizes Black people and robs us of our personal agency. How many times have you and I said not that way? She
Yeah.
spoke it a lot better than we do, but
a lot better than you even read it. But yeah,
so, but that's kind of what we've been saying, right?
Yeah.
Personal accountability. That's what
Correct.
it's all about.
Mhm.
Structural racism does not make a person drink sugary beverages, smoke cigarettes, or eat fried and processed foods.
Wait a second. I do all those
Outside
things.
of smoking cigarettes, I love that stuff.
I mean, I do them all.
Yeah. The study
Racist.
authors admit that they did not look at individuals. They did not look at individuals, but one city in the southern United States, and that but one city, folks,
Mhm.
in the southern United States, and that casual inferences cannot be drawn. Dr. Blackstock's assertion reeks of politics, not medical science.
Of course.
While we have a legacy of slavery, we also have a legacy of strength and resilience. Again, yes. Why can't they follow that?
I know.
After all, escaping from slavery required creativity and perseverance, she added. Singleton was one of multiple California doctors who filed a lawsuit against the state's Medical Board of mandatory implicit bias training in their education.
Yeah.
This implicit bias requirements promotes the inaccurate belief that the white individuals are naturally racist. Singleton said in a news release, this message can be detrimental to medical professionals and their patients as it creates an atmosphere of suspicion and animosity, which goes against the fundamental principle of doing no harm. In a column for National Review, Dr. Richard Bossart warned about the dangers of forcing critical race theory or diversity, equity, and inclusion ideology into medical schools. There is a finite amount of time in residency training to mold a competent surgeon from a fumble-fingered intern. To assume that we can continue to turn out excellent surgeons and simultaneously burden surgical education with the degree of time-consuming indoctrination and anti-racism and DEI demanded by the ACS toolkit, at best, foolish and futile, and at worst, dangerous to our patients, Bossart wrote. I don't disagree with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Singleton also denounced any efforts by the government to try and cure systemic racism as a way to promote healthy living. Okay, so, lady, put down those French fries.
Yep.
Or, lady, you're eating those French fries because of me, and I'm sorry. I'm white, so it's systemic racism, so I apologize for you eating those French fries.
Yeah.
And sitting in your butt watching Oprah all day. I'm sorry.
It's true. That's what they're saying. It's your fault, Jim.
So again, personal accountability, and that's it, folks. Personal account. You are responsible for what you do. We live in the United States of America. It is not 1950s United States. It's not 1960s. It is not even back 200 years ago. Okay, this is the United States of America. Anybody can succeed as long as you try.
Yep.
Okay, and if you try and you fail, try it again. Okay, but if you are failing, there are times that people get in trouble because they trusted the wrong people, right? And then that is so small compared to the overall picture.
Yeah,
you do something wrong, you take the responsibility for it,
and should learn from it. Yeah, you should learn from it.
All these kids that are going to school, and then when you're done with school, and then you have this debt, then all of a sudden you realize, I don't want that debt. Correct. I shouldn't have to pay that debt. Yeah, you should. You borrow the money, you pay for it.
Well,
unless you're the United States of America, then you just give more money.
Led by example. You know.
But we're losing. This is why I feel we've lost the country. Everything is racism. If a black individual fails, it's racism. It's racism. Yep. But if a woman gets beat by a transgender male or transgender female, who is actually male, right?
It's transphobia. Okay. It's because they're transphobic.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you hear, Jim, that has nothing to do with any of this, but did you hear the controversy on Dave Chappelle's most recent special? Yeah, spot on, by the way. Again, another classic by Chappelle.
Transgender movement.
But if you haven't heard it, listen to it. It has a story about him meeting Jim Carrey for the first time, and how that happened. And then I don't want to tell the story. You just listen to Dave Chappelle's special, and especially the Jim Carrey part. It's why the transgender movement's up in arms again, and they want him canceled again.
Yep.
Have you realized you cannot cancel Dave Chappelle? It just can't happen.
Well, yeah, because you got a woke black man.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's woke for the most part, but this transgender movie, he doesn't get it.
Yeah, he is, but he isn't. He's sensible.
We don't get it.
We don't get it.
We don't get it. Bill Maher is sensible sometimes.
Yes. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean,
correct.
So
correct.
Yeah,
it's the liberal, the standard 20-year ago liberal doesn't understand what they call a liberal today. They're not on the same page because the liberals have become too far left progressive, right?
Well,
it's what they say about the right wing movement. We've become extreme right wing. Well, we're just trying to combat the lunatics on the left, for the love of God.
What percentage of the population are trans?
More. It's growing, obviously, but 1%,
probably
9%. I don't know.
It's probably 20% now, but
probably is now.
It was less than
how many
1%.
Identify. Yeah,
I think it was actually less than a half of 1%. I mean, it was very, very low. Well,
ridiculous.
They're deciding what happens in this country right now.
Yeah,
80% of the Americans in a latest poll said that they believe that abortion should be limited after a certain period of time. Right? So, the 12 to 16 week that we always hear, after that, 80% feel nothing after that.
Correct.
But it's the 20% who want to kill you up the age of 16.
Yeah.
Okay, these other wackos are controlling the narrative.
Of course.
They're
That's
controlling
how it works.
it.
Minority rules in this nation.
But until, like I said, until the majority of us step up, which is why I personally believe this country's gone.
Because you don't think
we don't want to, because we
cojones to step up.
I don't want somebody to yell at me. I don't want somebody to come up and yell in my face and threaten me. I don't want to do that.
I don't want. Well, but so I understand that thought process. I don't want to go to jail because I protest in front of the Capitol. I mean, I understand because that's how that's, people don't want to lose their lives or lose their, and what I mean by lives is not just dying. I mean, they don't want to lose their livelihood and their, they build families and they have neighborhoods and friends and, children, and, you go protest. Next thing you know, you're in jail for 2 years, 3 years. Who knows?
So let's think about this. We got our side who don't go to people's employer. We don't go threaten people. We don't do this. We don't do that. We don't do that. We think you're stupid. We think you're an idiot, and we move on. The other side, they have to do that. They have to go out. Why? You have to ask yourself, why do they do? It's not because they just want peace and love everywhere. No, they're pushing an agenda that they know is wrong.
Correct.
And the only way they can do it is to shout, threaten, and destroy.
Correct.
And that's what they have done or attempted to do to many, many people. A lot of people we interviewed.
A lot of people. Correct.
And that's what they do. So you have to ask yourself, why are they doing it? Why do they have to do that? Well, because we are speaking truthful. We are giving you a second side of the dangers of what they're trying to push for children and even for adults. Okay, because the suicide rate still goes up amongst adults.
Correct.
After they have this surgery.
You got that right.
But they don't tell you that. They only tell you suicide rates. That's it.
It's true.
They stop right there.
True.
They don't tell you that most of the suicide rates, that reason the higher rates are for the children that are given the puberty blockers. And then, of course, the adults who, after a certain period of time, realized keep in mind, folks, your body does not, if you're a male, you produce testosterone. Okay.
Yes.
You do produce a little bits of estrogen, but not a lot. So your body is not going to produce that. So you have to have that put into your body while you're stopping the testosterone, and vice versa. That's not normal. So your body is going to, and I'm not, okay, look, I am not a professional. I am not, I am not a psychiatrist by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, I think we know that.
I think we know
But I can tell you that this is not, your body does not produce.
Well, it's
these
like putting
things
to me, unnecessary poison or whatever into your body. I mean, I smoke. I know that's not good for my body. Doesn't like that. It rejects it. It wants to not have it. Right. It doesn't want to have bourbon. It doesn't. I mean, I firmly believe.
Well,
I firmly believe the body can't survive without it. But what I'm saying
our body needs bourbon.
It needs bourbon. But I'm thinking that it's true. Jim, we're moving on.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
No, that's okay. No. It's not a big deal. I don't care. I'm just saying
I get on my high horse.
It's been a while. It's a new year. It's your first rant of the year. Yeah. Of course, our first episode of the year, and also the first episode that I'm going to formally invite Tucker Carlson onto the podcast. So, Tucker, you're invited anytime
because we know he listens.
Yeah, he listens. Well, we know he does. I mean, he's had some stories that we've certainly covered, so it's got to be the truth. Jim, top 9 media lies and cover-ups in 2023. Yes, top 9, not only 9, but the top 9. So let's get right into this. You want to go 10 to 1, or you want to go 1 to 10?
I like the countdown.
You like the countdown, so
I like yes. I that's my preference.
Yeah. Oh, I understand. So let's go.
When you start with number
9.
1, it's like, who cares what 10 is?
I know that's true. So number 9, top outlets report anti-Semitism is not a problem. Anti-Israel protests are peaceful. That's number 9.
Wow.
If you need me to go. Yeah. On November 5th, Paul Kessler, a 69-year-old Jewish man, was killed by a pro-Palestinian protester in California. We covered that. But it was peaceful. So that's what the news told you. That's what the media told you. I don't need to go into the whole story on why that is number 9, but that's in this rating. And this comes from Newsmax. So it's their, top 9 media lies. Newsmax might even have a couple in there. I don't know. But number 8, Jim, The View hosts accuse GOP of having planted White House cocaine. So The View co-host Sonny Hostin claimed in July that a bag of cocaine found in the West Wing cubby may have been planted by Republicans. Quote, maybe it was planted, or do I sound paranoid? Hostin asked. Co-host Anna Navarro speculated that the fanciful GOP spy op may have been undertaken, quote, so they could advance the Hunter Biden narrative. This is what The View, which, is really where people should go for their news source.
When you said lies, you should have just stopped when you said The View.
The View, number 8, The View. I know. Well, that's what I'm saying, folks. Yeah. This is just kind of a breakdown of what they felt was the top 9, and I don't disagree with him on it. But you're right. There's thousands of them. I mean, I don't even know if they get into how many
that was one of my
redactions and retractions that frickin' the New York Times had to take this year.
When Sonny Hostin and Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg all come out and say that the GOP
planted
that, or likely planted.
Likely, just to advance the Hunter Biden narrative, because the Hunter Biden
has been on video.
But we needed to plan it to add more evidence, even though there's video of him snorting coke off of teenagers' asses, smoking crack and all that. But hey,
nothing to see here.
Nothing to see there. I know how we'll get them. We'll put the cocaine there. Obvious.
Do we know
what?
Was it Joy Behar's crack that he was snorting it off? Maybe.
My God, how much coke would you need? Boy, it'd be a mountain to get out of that butt crack,
Anyway, what's number
Again,
7?
I'm not body shaming. It sounds like I am. Jim leads me in those directions, and then I get in trouble for it. I'm just saying. I don't want to know how much coke it takes to put on Joy's ass. Number 7, media claim there's no evidence that Biden engaged in any wrongdoing, even though checks have been written to Joe Biden in his name. But PBS, imagine that, another good news source,
network,
stressed that Hunter Biden's tax-related charges did not implicate President Joe Biden. Again, The View co-hosts have largely dismissed the GOP impeachment probe that's investigating Joe Biden's involvement. An Axios headline in September highlighted that the GOP's own witnesses say there's no evidence to impeach Biden yet. Okay, so that's number 7. I think we can,
Mhm.
agree that was a media lie. Number 6. Well, here we go. PBS asserts Hunter Biden indictment doesn't implicate Joe Biden. So here we go. When Biden's son Hunter earlier the month was charged with several tax-related felonies, PBS NewsHour cut right to what it seemed to believe was the heart of the matter. Quote, "The indictment does not in any way implicate President Joe Biden." That's it. PBS said it.
Nothing to see here.
It's true. That was number 6. Jim, number 5. MSNBC host alleges Trump will, quote, "execute people if elected." I remember this, but I forgot this one. Once upon a time I love this one. Once upon a time in 2015, MSNBC host Joe Scarborough helped expand Trump's political profile, inviting Trump on his show countless times in the run-up to the 2016 election for interviews that were typically friendly affairs. Times have changed, haven't they, for old lefty Joe Scarborough? Once Trump was in office, Scarborough began to oppose him, and the level of vitriol and hysteria has leveled at the former president, who is also the front runner in the 2024 GOP nomination. May have reached new heights in November, with Scarborough claiming Trump's revenge on his political enemies would include, quote, murder. Trump's going to murder people if elected. These people have television shows. They're getting paid
Lots of money
to spew that.
Well, I guess Joe Scarborough doesn't call himself a journalist.
No. And I don't even care. It's an opinion matter. And you could say, hey, I think if Trump is elected, he'll murder people. That's still bizarrely inaccurate. As if the Clintons haven't.
It's just like saying that if the Clintons win, they're going to kill people. That never happened.
And Epstein hung himself. Number 4, CNN misrepresents Gaza deaths, likens Israel response to October 7th attacks after Hamas terrorists murdered 1,200 Israelis in the surprise October 7th attack. Israel stated that its goal was to eliminate Hamas from Gaza and began a deliberate ground invasion thereafter.
You can add a New York University professor to that list.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. But in November segment about the war on CNN News Central, correspondent Ivan Watson cited misleading numbers about the number of Palestinian civilians killed and appeared to equate the terror attack with the response to it. Watson told the viewers that 14,800 Palestinian civilians had been killed, citing numbers provided by the Palestinian Ministry of Health in the West Bank. I'd love to have Patricia DeGennaro back on I'm sure she probably doesn't even know.
No, yeah, she's never.
God love her, right? Because somebody, must. But she literally, this is all, she would say that's debunked. That's y'all remember. Number 3, I'm moving on. Political tries to sanitize Senate gay sex tape scandal, which I think were the 2 guys that were on the ABC Happy New Year midnight thing. When it emerged that the Senate staffer had been caught filming a graphic gay sex tape in a Senate hearing room, one of the premier political outlets in the country took a noticeably careful approach to its coverage. Political's only description of the video was that it, quote, shows 2 men having sex. Quote, was shared in a group chat with gay men in politics and was graphic. In fact, Political even doubled down on the latter description. Quote, first off, please know when they say graphic, they mean it. Otherwise, readers had to follow a link to the Daily Caller's website to find out the dirty details. The playbook entry concluded, quote, now on to more serious business, as if the gay sex scandal was not serious.
Right. But they neglected to say where.
That's it. That's exactly how they did it. Right. And they neglected to say where, who was involved in it, which political party staffer it was, you name it, everything except the important details. Yeah. Although they might have said anal sex, Jim. I don't remember. I remember us talking about that.
Multiple times.
Number 2, major media outlets say Trump backed an insurrection.
Right.
We don't even need to go into this. Every major media outlet claims Trump was the one who backed it, started it, is responsible for it.
With
hence,
all the evidence, still
keep him off the ballot. We know that one. And the number one, Jim, drum roll, please. Drum roll, please.
Ding.
The New York Times claims Israel bombed Gaza hospital. We've talked about that one. So that is the number one out of the 9 top media lies in 2023. We don't even have to get into it. We know that's not true. We know what happened. Jim, anything to add to the top 9 list?
That's, yeah. Nope.
Besides the Steele dossier is still correct. Besides the 2020 election was still valid. Besides Joe Biden got 81 million votes. Besides voter rolls being correct. Besides,
these individuals that claimed January 6th, the insurrection was led by Trump and pushed by Trump, but none of these individuals believe the voter rolls are wrong. These individuals
that women still have rights.
All these ballots, into phone. They can use the what is that term? Data collection from the phone where you're geotracking. Geotracking is good for catching a serial killer,
but not for.
But it's inaccurate for voters.
Completely.
Anyway,
Jim, we're moving on. You got something an XCI analyst is telling us about the upcoming election that is probably.
I just have to stop reading.
I know.
Because it's starting to prove more and more what I've been saying. This country's gone.
The country's gone. Jim, you're making me believe it. It's I'm saddened by it. But
former CIA intelligence analyst John Gentry is predicting that a politicized intelligence community, sound familiar, will attempt to interfere in the 2024 election, similar to their efforts in 2020. Gentry, a Georgetown University professor and author of the new book, Neutering the CIA, Why U.S. Intelligence versus Trump Has Long-Term Consequences, told Fox News Digital in a recent interview. My guess is that the proverbial deep state within the intelligence community will reemerge because presumably a Republican candidate will again be seen as a threat to the internal policies that many intelligence people like. Gentry pointed to the infamous letter wherein more than 50 former senior intelligence officials claimed in an open letter that the New York Post's Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation just before the 2020 election. We all remember that, right?
Oh,
the letter has now been debunked,
of course,
and traced back to the then Biden campaign advisor, Antony Blinken. And former Obama acting CIA director Mike Morrell. According to the congressional testimony from the latter, the CIA had approved the letter for publication in Politico. Okay, so now this, again, folks, is proven.
Yep.
But you don't see this on CNN.
Correct.
I think it is worth closely monitoring these people. Many have compromised their credibility by actions such as the Laptop 51 letter. Gentry said. He said there are already signs in recent weeks that those same former intelligence agency members will be active in 2024. I long have thought we are likely to again see former intelligence officers be politically active against Trump or whomever the Republican presidential candidate is next year. And I expect leaking to resume. Gentry told Fox News Digital. The activities of formers have resumed already, a bit before I expected. Gentry also highlighted how the intelligence community got more woke over the last few decades due to the introduction of diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, at major intelligence agencies, including the CIA, which he said shifted attention away from the day-to-day operations. It is an effort half a century ago to get more women and minorities into the intelligence community, he said, adding that it is sped up under the Obama administration. Again, folks, there is nothing wrong with that. Having more minorities, more women in the intelligence agency, if they're qualified.
Yeah, qualifications.
We seem to be losing that little bit of thing there. This was done under the rubric of affirmative action.
Yep.
It gradually became more of a policy through the Clinton administration, but it took significant step forward or not, depending on your perspective, when President Obama signed an executive order designed to improve diversity and inclusion in the federal workforce. He fingered former CIA. That needs to be written
did he?
differently. He fingered former CIA Director John
bet.
Brennan and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper as the two of the main drivers in the more politically active intelligence agencies. He said they were strongly supportive of Obama's desire to transform the federal workforce and began to accelerate this process. So here it comes again, folks. We're going to start seeing leaks.
Yep.
We're going to start seeing, as we get closer, when we actually get the candidate, or get closer to the candidate. Right now, they're already doing this with President Trump, right? He's the candidate, he's the lead, so they're doing 99 indictments. They're trying him for everything. They're going to do all this stuff.
I think they go on. Sorry, Jim.
Then next is going to be that's okay. Then next is going to be Ron DeSantis. You're going to start seeing things being leaked. Then comes Nikki Haley, and then last but not least, Chris Christie, because they wouldn't mind a Chris Christie president.
They wouldn't mind if Nikki Haley's president.
Right. Well, but they're still going to go down.
Well, they're going to come out with stuff because they got to show some sort of.
The problem with Nikki Haley.
But they don't mind controlling Nikki Haley.
The problem with Nikki Haley is the Koch brothers supporting her.
I know.
Okay, that's the problem with Nikki Haley. And which tells me that people are going to go after her. Okay.
Yeah.
They're going to go after her because they, the Koch brothers.
Yep. Correct.
But anyway, it's coming.
Yep, it is.
We've seen it already right now with the indictments, right? 99. Are you kidding me? But nothing to see here over the cash that Biden had. The proven trail, right? I mean, we anyway.
Nothing to see.
So again, as I've stated many times, we've lost the country.
Jim, you depress me. Jim, I'm going to try to get through this one as quickly as possible. And I'm not going to read it. They're all short, so it's not like it's a long list. But 24 for 24.
Okay.
The numbers that will shape a crucial year in politics. Now, I happen to agree with a lot of this. This is from Politico. Okay. So, number one, Donald Trump's share of white evangelical Christian votes in Iowa. So, and it gives some good information there. 8 years ago, Trump lagged with white evangelicals in Iowa, 21%, tied with Marco Rubio for second place, who made up roughly 6 in 10, according to the entrance poll. But he's now dominating this block, leading Ron DeSantis 56% to 22%. Okay, white evangelical Christian votes in Iowa. Number two, Nikki Haley's vote share among women in New Hampshire. If Haley is going to pull off an upset in the second GOP contest, she'll need to improve upon a gender gap that's developed in recent weeks. The strongest woman presidential candidate in Republican Party history is running better with men than women. A St. Anselm College poll this month indicates, which showed Haley at 30% overall and found the former South Carolina governor only 6 points behind Trump among men, 40% to 34%, but a whopping 25 points shy of Trump amongst women, 48 to 23.
Never would have guessed that.
Thank God. She's got to stay off the ballot. Better her than Biden. Anyways, write-in vote share for Joe Biden in New Hampshire. This is interesting because New Hampshire's leaving him off the ballot because of his attempt to make South Carolina the first in the Democratic primary lineup, right? But there's a big push to write him in to deny Representative Dean Phillips, a Democrat out of Minnesota, any oxygen off the bat. Still, the move isn't without risk if the write-in efforts fall short of expectations. So that'd be interesting to see that. Biden's approval rating, number 4. Don't even need to go in it. Historically, presidents who are below 50% do not win re-election. We know where Biden stands. Some say 40.5%, some say 39%, 38%. That not historically, every time does not get you reelected. So one, either he's not going to be on the ballot, or two, they're going to cheat and he's going to be president again, as we are hearing. Number 5, a number of Donald Trump convictions before Election Day. super important. We've been talking about it. Before Election Day, we feel, whether he's on the ballot or not, whether he wins the primary or not, he will be convicted of something. Right. They're going to make damn sure of it. So that's going to matter. Number 6, the Conference Board Consumer Confidence Index. We don't talk about this a lot because a lot of times that's beyond our knowledge in a way. You know, I mean, we just don't research it a lot. We don't do that. So the year ended with an uptick in consumer confidence measures, a possible sign of an improving economic outlook moving into the election year. Oddly enough, they're now things are good. They're going to start reporting, right? Unlike other data that measures economic conditions, this stat is mostly based on how consumers feel about the country's financial situation and their own. And they're going to start presenting this. It's going to be very, very, along with the abortion and Medicaid that the Republicans are going to absolutely ban and take away from the senior citizens. Consumer confidence, things are getting better. They're going to start reporting, as Biden has instructed them to that the economy is better. Number 7, number of states where Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is on the ballot. That's going to matter. I don't need to go into details about it, but it will matter, which I haven't really heard much about him lately. Have you?
Not lately.
Not lately. So number 8, number of general election debates for the president. The Bipartisan Commission on Presidential Debates has scheduled the customary 3 meetings between the candidates plus 1 for their running mates. But the Republican National Committee's promise to boycott the commission raises questions about whether we'll get to see any televised debates at all. Now, why is the Republicans? Because the Democrats are controlling it. We want it on NBC. We want it on CNN. We want those moderated. I mean, it's all true. That's why the Republicans are saying, screw off. We're not doing them. 9, number of states visited by Biden in the final 2 months of the campaign. That will make a difference. We all know that he goes nowhere.
I can make that prediction right now.
Yeah. How many?
0.
State of confusion. He will visit that. Number 10, general election turnout rate. I know they're saying all these things, but I don't think it matters. The general election turnout. I think the numbers will be whatever they say they're going to be. The enthusiasm gap, number 11, that's kind of where how much enthusiastic will the candidates have. We know Trump still is drawing mega crowds.
Can I quickly go back to the one prior?
You can, yes, please. Okay, let me general election turnout rate?
Yeah, let me ask you this quick question.
Yeah.
How many people stay home because they know the election's rigged?
Yeah, that's a lot.
No.
You can't do it. Regardless, you can't do it.
You got to go.
You got to go. Number 12, the Biden-Trump split among voters who dislike both Biden and Trump. So that makes a difference.
That is a pretty significant group, dude.
That's a pretty significant group. Number 13, the Biden-Trump split among voters who somewhat disapprove of Biden's job performance. So where does that group of people go? I somewhat disapprove. I don't even know what that means.
They're all Harvard president.
Yeah. So do they say, well, I somewhat disapprove, so I'm going to vote for Trump or the Republican candidate, or I somewhat disapprove, but man, Joe's a nice guy, you know? Number 14, the Biden-Trump split among women voters without college degrees. I mean, it's good. I don't think a college degree makes you any smarter.
I mean, we've seen what college
does. We've seen what college degrees accomplish. Number 15, Biden's vote share among voters younger than 30. We already know he's losing that battle, which is shocking, which is great. And that's due to a lot of I think that's a lot due to Vivek Ramaswamy. It's due to a lot of young conservatives in colleges and outside of colleges, standing up finally for themselves. I think that's huge. So, number 16, Biden campaign ad spending in Florida. So the Sunshine State is moving rapidly to the right. Democrats maintain they aren't writing off its 30 electoral votes yet, but notably the Biden campaign ad blitz in the second half of 2023 didn't include Florida.
Right.
And save for North Carolina was concentrated exclusively in states the president won in the last election. So I truly don't think Florida's I think that they need to give up on it, actually. The Democrats. It's just not happening this time, right? That's for sure. Number 17, Republican ad spending on abortion message. Of the $428 million spent on abortion ads in the 2022 midterms, according to Ad Impact, the vast majority was spent by Democrats. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin's PAC was more proactive this year, but the GOP still lost the race to control the state legislature. There's little sign of abortion diminishing as a motivation force for voters because they are going to shove it down your damn throats.
Yep.
Will Republicans find a message on which to campaign, or will they avoid it? These are all pretty good points.
That is a great point.
It's very, to me, this is a very bipartisan, and for political,
I guarantee you in the debate, CNN is going to ask again.
Oh, it's going to ask
and
again.
They're all going to look like idiots.
They're going to ask about Medicaid. They're going to ask about abortion. Nikki Haley will stick with her message, which I think is her best.
Her point on abortion
makes the most sense.
Right.
And at least she has an answer. So I will give her credit for that.
Look, you and I are pro-life.
I don't hate her. She's not the one.
We're pro-life.
Pro-life.
Okay. But we know that you can't say abortion's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now can we agree no more than 12 to 16 weeks? After
can
that,
we?
no. Can we
just
at least do that?
Can we at least fight that battle? Win that battle.
Yeah.
And from there you move forward. Can we at least do that, even though I don't agree with it, even though you don't agree with it? But I don't agree with up to birth abortion. So I'll take the 12 to 16. 12 max for me, but you know what I'm saying.
12 is max for me, but 16's thrown out there a lot. So, but I agree. 12 is mine.
Actually, dude. God,
I know.
So number 18, number of states with abortion ballot measures. From Kansas to Ohio, abortion rights are undefeated at the ballot box in the post-Dobbs era. That's frightening. Activists in a number of red or battleground states, including Arizona, Florida, and Nevada, are trying to put initiatives on their 2024 ballots. Yeah. Don't do it. Please, don't do it. I'm under the thing, let's avoid the subject. Answer it, say, if we can come to an agreement 12 to 16 weeks, then that's what we'll do. And we'll let the states decide because that's really the right way to do it. Mm-hmm. Next question, please.
Yep.
19, the national murder rate. The murder rate is down about 13% from last year, the biggest annual drop ever. But will that decrease? Will that decrease the salience of crime, which led to Republican gains in places like New York last year as an issue next November? Good question. Can't believe it's down 13%.
I don't.
Well, can't afford bullets anymore.
There's no way. I disagree. I think that's false. I don't think
it is either.
I think they're spewing but they're changing the narrative.
Directing the narrative where they want to go.
Just like COVID deaths.
Correct. Number 20, number of competitive Republican Senate primaries. Republicans only need to flip one Democrat-held seat to win control of the chamber if they also win the White House. And with West Virginia almost a sure thing after Democrat Senator Joe Manchin's retirement announcement, the GOP is already on the brink of the majority.
Right.
But in most of the targeted seats, including Montana, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the party faces the prospect of a knockdown, drag-out primary or has one already ongoing. Very good point there. Number 21, candidates on the Arizona general election ballot for Senate.
Can I
jump in?
Comment that you just made.
Yeah.
The Republican primaries was the reason we didn't get the Senate the last time.
I know.
Because the weakest candidate won.
That's how they vote them in. That's how they vote them in. Although I don't think Carrie Lake was a weak candidate, but she was for governor.
No.
And she's running for Senate now in Arizona.
We've seen other...
Correct.
With the Senate. I'm not talking governor. I'm not talking, but the Senate the ones that Trump backed, the Democrats knew that person would never win a election. So they went in the primaries and voted for that
Dr.
person.
Oz against John Fetterman.
Voted for that person when they knew that person wasn't going to win. Yes.
John Fetterman's making a little more sense lately. Have you noticed that? With some of his statements?
He's getting the same medication that Biden's getting.
No, I don't mean as far as how understandable and how you can understand him, but his message is a little more like, hey, the Democrats are wacky from Fetterman. Anyways, candidates on the Arizona general election ballot for Senate. So will Kristen Sinema attempt to uphill an independent bid for a second term? She's not my favorite, but she is far from the worst Senate candidate.
She has been more across the line voting than a lot of other people. But would I prefer
so Carrie Lake's running against her, and that's it. Her and Representative Ruben Gallego. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a Democrat, but I don't know who that is. Number 22, Democrats who qualify for the general election for Senate in California.
Whoa. There's a Democrat running on that same ticket as an independent
So
Republican?
A fate of her seat will come down to a more conventional Democrat, either Representative Ruben Gallego.
She won't win.
Republican.
She will not win if the Democrat runs.
If they can get three, if Ruben, and I'll have to look into Ruben Gallego. I don't know much about it, but if that person is actually got the Democrat nomination, I guess, right, for Senate and the backing, does Sinema back out?
Remember,
and leave?
Sinema was a Democrat that went independent.
Went independent, correct. So if it is Democrat independent, they're gonna cancel each other out like crazy.
That's why I was saying.
I know
if there's a Democrat running, the Sinema and Lake is sitting there going, "Go."
Thank you. Yeah, but of course I thought Lake would already be governor because holy crap.
Well,
so here's an
Hobbs
interesting.
has proven that she's the right.
Yeah. Here's an interesting one. Democrats who qualify for the general election for Senate in California. We know this. We hope to have an actual candidate running for Senate. A
couple of them maybe.
Coming up here shortly. For more of 2023, it looked like Reps Adam Schiff and Katie Porter were on the collision course for a Democrat versus Democrat general election next November, but Republican Steve Garvey, you know who he is, rise in the polls is jeopardizing that matchup, mostly to Porter's detriment, according to the polls that show Schiff inching out in front of the pack. I can't even believe California just literally fall off into the ocean.
Is Ron Say going to be lieutenant governor?
Ron Say is, that's right.
Steve Yeager, maybe.
Yeah, Steve.
Sorry.
Tommy Lasorda, God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
House of Districts flipped by Democrats in New York. So that could happen, folks. That's going to be important to watch that as well. 24, number of House retirements. So the final one. Right. So far, 35 House members have said they won't seek re-election. A list that doesn't include the 7 who've died, been expelled, resigned, or said they will soon resign. Of those 35 retirees and members seeking other offices, 23 are Democrats, potentially complicating the party's path back to the majority. And historically, the retirement peak comes right after the holidays, so stay tuned for more.
And on top of that, remember the last 2 times we have significant retirements.
Yes.
When the Republicans lost the House and they felt they were going to lose the House, remember?
Yes.
And when the Democrats, a lot of retirement because they felt they were going to lose the House, and they did.
Correct.
So if you see a lot of Democrats retiring, their polls are telling them something different. So
yep. Let me report on this real quick because I want to do it. It says here, update: District Executive for the Southern District of New York announces first names on Jeffrey Epstein's list, expected to be released today. Okay. Of course, of the 150 plus names connected to the Jeff Draven case are expected unsealed on Wednesday, a federal court official told the messenger. I'm trying to see if besides Billy Clinton
can I ask
and
you a
Prince
question?
Andrew, right?
When we see this list, what is it going to tell us? That
I don't know.
On the island, that they're business partners. I mean, what is this? You know, what that's what I want to know. Yeah. So
I want to know the people who, well, we'll see. All right.
Well, remember, he did not hang around with people that didn't benefit him.
Oh, that's true.
So
that's true. So I don't know yet, but we'll wait and see, folks. We'll talk about it next week. By then it'll be old news, but I'd love to see what it's going to be. Huh?
He would not hang around with you and I.
Epstein?
We can give him nothing.
I give him nothing. Yep.
Yeah, we can't.
That's right.
I mean, we have no money. Well, compared to what they have. We have no money. We have, it means nothing to us.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, folks, that's it for today. Please remember to like, follow, and share on Rumble. We really do appreciate it.
Forgot to say that.
We hope you all had a very safe New Year. Jim, was that? Yes.
I forgot to say that again.
You did.
Why not start the New Year's off right?
Why not? Yeah, start it off just like all the other years. Your forgetfulness, That's all right. New Year. This is it's a new Jim. It's a new Dale. It's a new 2 Guys, 1 Coup. You can tell it's even longer and more drug out than the previous episodes. A lot to talk about. We haven't been around in a while.
Back on the diet train, so I'm trying to.
Are you?
I got off it a little bit.
Jeez, Jim. Yeah. Before our big week together, we're gonna be eating and drinking like pigs, aren't we?
That's why I got to get it out of me this week. So.
Yeah, good call. Good call. I like the way you think, folks. Like, follow, share on Rumble. Hit those buttons. Hit them. It means a lot to us, and we really, really do appreciate it. We're glad you're all back. Very crucial year ahead, folks, for all of us. Very crucial. Very
And I'll
important.
try to be positive. I'm sorry.
Jim, you can't. And here's, what does my pen say? Can you see that? Uh-oh. That's right. I got to do it this way. I got to do it this way.
Stay positive.
Is that backwards, Jim? Or is it coming to you?
Now it is. It was before, but I saw stay. So.
Yeah, I got stay positive.
Evil weep it. Yes.
Yeah. Either way, stay positive, folks. Despite Jim's Eeyore attitude, we will prevail, I think.
I look, I hope we do. I mean, I would like to think common sense is eventually going to prevail.
I would too, but odds are it won't.
Well, because the powers that be won't let common sense.
It's not that common sense won't. You're right. That's exactly what you just said.
Idiots that vote for AOC and people like that and Omar and all them, they want them.
It's hard to combat 20 million additional illegal votes. It really is. So
at least,
we need to take our country back. This is the year, the most crucial year, I think, in our nation's lifetime. Honestly, and it's. I look forward to it because it's going to be for us and doing a show. It's going to be absolutely bizarre. The things that is going to come up and what's going to happen. I also fear what's going to happen at the end of the year as well. So, very, very frightening times. Interesting. A lot to report on. We will have a bunch of interviews still coming up.
Not to mention the fact that Dale, you might have to deal with a national champion in 2024.
Either way, congratulations on the Big Ten and future Big Ten on the national championship game.
I don't like Jim Harbaugh.
They put the wrong team at number 4. We know that. Yep. I mean, obviously. Yeah, Georgia should have been number 4. Georgia.
Whoa. I believe Georgia definitely should have been one of the top 4.
Oh, no doubt. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Should Alabama have been? See, this is what I hate about it. I think Alabama should have been at Texas, but because of that loss,
I do too. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It would have been a better.
But even I still think with a fully functioned Ohio State team, they were one of the top 4 best teams in the league.
With everybody on the team and fully functioning, I agree with that too. Yep. So we'll see. But
anyway, Jim, if Michigan wins a national title, I don't want to. It's not. And it's one I don't like
all that just to get it taken away because of their cheating scandal. All that just to get this all taken away. So good for them.
That's another
good for them.
reason why
Jim,
the NCAA is completely gone. So.
Baffled. It's even farther gone than our nation. Trust me.
Yeah. Go
I'm out, Jim.
Go Huskies.
Go Huskies. Yeah. Jim, until next week, and everybody else, please be safe. Have yourself a good weekend. We will talk to you all soon. Jim, I say goodbye to you.
Right? Say 2 shows next week, right?
2 shows next week, folks.
All right.
Ooh. Yeah, 2 shows. Woo! Back at it.
God bless
Jim,
everybody.
Happy New Year. Talk to you soon. Bye.
You've been listening to the 2 Guys, 1 Coup podcast with Dale and Jim. Remember, you can watch on YouTube and Rumble and listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you like what you hear, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it, and it helps others find us when searching for podcasts. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and TikTok. Just search for 2 Guys, 1 Coup. That's the number 2, guys, and the number 1, Coup, C-O-U-P. Thanks again for listening to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast, and God bless the United States of America.